everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Spoilers with Friends with me and Ann. And today, we're going to be talking about a couple of Bigfoot movies, the Bigfoot Project and Momo. And that actually, again, there were like 4 movies called Momo when I was trying to find it on Amazon Prime. We went the one that stars Lyle Blackburn and is about the actual 1972, I think, sighting of Momo the monster in Louisiana, Missouri. So that's the one. Huh?
It's Louisiana.
Yeah, I've been through it many times and I've stayed there, but I haven't really talked with the locals that much, I admit that. So, all right, so let's look at the Bigfoot Project, which you can find on Amazon Prime, I believe. And Anne, opening thoughts?
It is absolutely well worth the $3.99 I paid to rent it, and I may go ahead and buy the DVD because it's one of the funniest things I've ever seen.
Okay.
It is extremely well done.
So
I like the characters.
Okay, so the Bigfoot Project is basically you're following 4 people who decide that they're going to go try to find Bigfoot in Georgia because he's just been sighted there. And they end up in this small town, they interview some locals, and then they go out camping in the woods. And do they find Bigfoot at the end? Well, we'll probably let you know because this is Spoilers with Friends. But they are 4 completely unprepared people who wander out trying to find something large and that owes a local guy $20 for losing a game of Sorry.
Yeah, it's kind of like if the Blair Witch Project had been really funny.
They do spoof a couple of scenes out of the Blair Witch Project.
And they do it well.
And certainly the interviews with the locals has that flavor of, I guess those were also actors, most of them. I don't know, a couple of them I was wondering if they might actually have been local, so they kind of, approached and just said, hey, can we ask you about something, and just to see what kind of weird expressions or something they could get from people who didn't know what was going on. But
I have met people that strange, so it's possible they weren't actors. I don't know. They were funny either way.
Yeah, so they go down. Everybody tells them they have to find a guy called Willie Ray. Willie Ray apparently sees Bigfoot a lot, and that's the guy that Bigfoot owes $20 to. And
Bigfoot's not a welcher.
Yeah, so he's pretty sure that Bigfoot's going to pay him back sometime. But they decide they need to go out in the woods and actually track Bigfoot down. So from there, they have interpersonal issues, I guess, is the main thing. But they're funny, and they're kind of, although even a couple of the characters are kind of jerks, but they're kind of jerks in the funny, amusing way. So you don't really feel like you want to strangle them too much. Like, whereas most of these movies, you just want to kill these characters or hope that the paranormal thing comes and eats them. But not so much with these people. They're kind of charming and in an innocent kind of way.
They're endearing. Even the obnoxious people, you hope maybe somebody will smack them, but not that anybody's going to eat them.
Yeah. So definitely check out Bigfoot Project. It's not very long. It's pretty funny. It's one of the better spoof movies out there, I think. And so how many doll heads would you give that?
Do we give funny movies the same sort of rating as we do scary movies?
I could always find something else. What kind of little heads or creepy heads, or what would you like to give it?
It gets 5, whatever it is, though, because that's really funny.
Okay, we'll think about it. It'll get a 5 somethings.
5 somethings.
It won't be creepy doll heads. It'll be something else. Maybe Bigfoot heads. I don't know.
Bigfoot print. Single ones, because you never have more than one.
Yeah. The other movie that we looked at was Momo, as I said. You'll need to find the one with Lyle Blackburn and not any of the others, because of, again, lots of movies with the same title. So, Anne, you want to talk about this one a little bit?
Yeah, I liked Momo. I guess I have a special place in my heart for Momo since I'm from Missouri, and I remember being scared of Momo the monster when I was a kid, even though I lived in the suburbs in St. Louis and, very far away from Louisiana. And I've actually met Lyle Blackburn, and he's very nice and very sincere and a good guy. And I like what he did there. He goes around and goes to small towns and finds spooky stories and talks to people. I enjoyed it. I don't know if all those people in the 70s were nuts or they saw just an owl or something. Who knows? I was especially interested in the interview with the sheriff's daughter, because it sounds like, people took it seriously enough that the sheriff either wanted to find it or wanted to keep his townspeople from killing each other. So it was pretty big news.
I think a lot of times when you see the glowing eyes in the dark, it's probably an owl.
And owls make some really terrifying, freakish noises.
Yes. I did see something where some people were trying to figure out how people can be mistaken so often in the dark, and they would put something by the side of the road for people to see and then quiz them later. What was it like? What did it look like? And people uniformly always thought that it was bigger than it really was. So if you have something a couple feet tall on the side of the road, then people would tell you it was 7 or 10 feet tall, and you're like, it wasn't 7 or 10 feet tall. But it seems like humans will, if they see something out of the corner of their eye in the dark and then report it later, it always ends up being bigger than the actual object. So that an owl could have been Momo is entirely possible. Apparently that's just part of human nature when you can't really see something in the dark. So
I think so. And eyewitness testimony is pretty worthless. I think that the legal field has been discovering that. They told us about that in law school, that they do experiments on what people will miss, what they will misremember. I don't know if you've seen the experiment where they show a group of students a film of a basketball game, and there's a guy in a gorilla suit that walks right through the middle of it.
Right.
And a whole bunch of the students don't even notice him because they're looking for something else.
Right.
So who knows what people see? I kind of doubt if... Louisiana is pretty empty, and it was even emptier in the 70s, but I still kind of doubt that there was an 8-foot hairy man creature hanging around. But you never know.
Yeah.
It was interesting.
We rely on our senses, and unfortunately our senses can fool us. If you really think about it, your brain is just a bunch of nerves in a little black box, right? And it depends on getting those signals from your nerves, and then it has to interpret those signals, and then it has to build a little virtual reality for you to live in, basically. And anywhere along that line, something can be, could trick you. So you say you saw it, but that doesn't necessarily mean it was there. Just because that's the way nerves and human bodies work. And we
but that's boring.
Think about it. We don't think about it.
Fun to see a 8-foot hairy man and sit around and talk about it over the fire. Right.
And I think we're primed as primates who depend on our eyesight to be afraid of the dark, to be really wary of things that are in the dark, because we can't smell that great compared to other animals. We don't maybe necessarily hear as well as other animals, but we can see pretty well. And then here we are in the dark, and what's out there, right? So that's what freaks us out. And then you start thinking about what's out there, and imagination can go pretty wild.
Yeah, and there are some weird noises in the woods at night. And in the cold light of day, you look them up, and it's like, oh, that was a loon.
Yeah. Last time we went camping, I heard something weird, and it was a gray wolf. Not gray wolf, a gray fox. Sorry, a gray fox. They're not actually related to other foxes, and they climb trees. They're kind of weird, but they make this really bizarre call, and I'm 3 a.m, and I'm like in the tent going, what in the hell is making this weird noise? And so I try to record it on my phone so that when I get home I can listen to animal calls on YouTube or something.
Yeah.
And gray fox. So you can hear all kinds of weird things, certainly.
Yeah, actually, like the song "What Does the Fox Say?" It's hard to even articulate what the fox says. Is the red foxes around here? They scream. Yeah. They make really weird noises. But the weirdest thing I've heard turned out to be owls. And the first time I heard it a few years ago, I thought somebody had let a chimp out. It sounds like monkeys or chimps. And man, I went inside. But then a few weeks ago, I actually posted about this on Facebook, because a few weeks ago, I was sitting outside and I heard 2 owls hooting at each other from across the ravine behind my house. And I guess what they were saying wasn't very nice, and they got closer together and then got into apparently a fight, because I could hear them the wings flapping and them fighting with each other. And that's what sounded like chimps. It was crazy. It wasn't just one owl, it was two owls fighting. And if I hadn't been sitting there listening to them hoot at each other for a while, I sure would have run back in the house. I'll bet you a lot of people have heard that.
Yeah.
And thought it was some kind of ape.
Well, I know I saw one of those ghost hunter shows where they were going out in the Pine Barrens to try to find the Jersey Devil. And their fox is screaming in the background. And I just happened to know because I listened to some fox screams online. I wanted to know what they sounded like. And one of them is supposed to be psychic. And I can't remember if it's a man or woman, but they're like, oh, that's the Jersey Devil, and it's trying to like separate us to get us to like run apart in the dark and be alone. And you're like, it's a fox.
The fox eating a squirrel.
Shouldn't you like do some research before you go out in the woods? I mean, I don't really believe in the paranormal, but I would like to think that, if it was out there, we could maybe investigate it. That I do think that would be kind of cool.
Yeah,
but it won't be.
You should at least
know investigated if you won't dismiss the fox calls or the owls. You'll never get to the truth if you're always distracted by something that's perfectly ordinary.
Right.
So, I really hope if you're out there, paranormal researchers, please, dismiss fox screams and gray foxes and owls that are fighting and whatever, and concentrate on things that can't be explained, and then maybe we'll actually find out the truth, right?
Yeah, because, if I stop taking something seriously in its entirety if they think that a fox screaming is something psychic. But to be fair, I have seen some shows where they did say that, oh, that's a fox, or oh, that's an owl. So, I have seen them where they at least tried to be scientifically accurate and rule out other things.
Okay, so if you're one of those researchers, good for you.
What?
I would say if you're one of those researchers, good for you, because you might be the one who finds the actual evidence then.
Yeah. A lot of those Bigfoot shows, they drive me nuts, though, because and the ghost shows, too. It's just guys in the woods shining flashlights under their chins or with night vision goggles stumbling around. Mm-hmm. And I can't figure out why people can watch that over and over and over and over. I could watch that for a day, but, like you were mentioning earlier, oh, this is perfect Squatch country. It's like, what?
As far as we know, they don't exist. There can't be perfect Squatch territory. But they seem to know like where they live and what they sound like and what they like to eat and everything. It's like you have never even seen one, but you solved everything.
They kind of spoofed that in Project Bigfoot.
Yeah. So we like Project Bigfoot. I found Momo a bit long, and I wasn't sure because I didn't know who Lyle Blackburn was. I guess that I was supposed to be taking it seriously or not, or if it was like a spoof upon a spoof. I wasn't sure. So apparently he is a person who goes around researching these things. So
yeah, I think he's more of a storyteller, though. I don't think he is trying to force anybody to believe it. He likes the stories. Mm-hmm. That's my take on it.
And stories are fun. Yeah. Okay, so
yeah, I like it too. I'm watching them. So part of what is interesting to me about them is when they interview. When a researcher actually does go out and interview the people, you can tell that there were people who really think that's what they saw, and they really were scared. And just I like the story part of it. How did it affect you? What happened in your town at the time? What did it change?
Mm-hmm.
So, and I think it brings a little notoriety to small towns, because I don't think Louisiana has much notoriety other than it is the home of Stark Brothers Nursery, which has been in business, I think, 200 years. And sells a lot of trees, and they still do.
Okay. I've only been through there a lot because my relatives live just across the river, so we'd go up to Louisiana and go over the bridge into Illinois. But so I've been through it on many occasions. So how many then whatever Bigfoot feet would you give Momo then?
3.5.
Okay.
I liked it.
All right. Any final thoughts on Bigfoot, the possible interdimensional alien creature who maybe that's why we can't find it, because it just disappears into another dimension?
Yeah, no, I was at the Mothman Festival in 2013, and I can't remember the name of this speaker, but I had stopped to listen to the speakers, and I just happened to catch this man saying that the reason you don't see Bigfoot very often, and you don't find scat, you don't find a dead one, you don't find babies, is because Bigfoot is an interdimensional being. So he just zips in and out of the dimension. Problem solved. I mean,
yeah. Well, that's been kind of a theory on many things.
Yeah.
Because
it's hard to prove.
Right. It always makes me wonder, like on the ghost hunting shows, when they have decided that some weird sound is an actual ghost, but what's a ghost, right? So they just seem to know what they mean by ghost, but it's like you haven't really defined it, and it could be anything. It could be an interdimensional unicorn. You don't know, right? Just by saying it's a ghost doesn't really mean anything.
Yeah, and some of the ghost hunter things just crack me up, because they really do have all kinds of categories of ghosts and hauntings and demons, and it's like, what? Where did you get that? Who knows? Or maybe there's demons. What do I know?
Well, true. We don't know, do we?
Like, told me that there were demons in her house. Have I told you this story in public? And I said, how do you know? And she said, well, I can see them rolling across the floor. And I said, what do they look like? And she said, they look like these little balls of dust and hair. And I couldn't help it. I mean, she was dead serious. And I said, have you tried vacuuming? And it's like, she was like, yeah, but they came back. So my husband and I went to the store, or not to the store, they went to the Catholic church and got like milk bottles full of holy water and sprayed it all over the house. I don't remember what happened after that.
I would think
she was curious.
Yeah. Well, I knew someone who told me that if you don't know the Piasa bird, if you're not from around St. Louis, the Piasa bird is supposed to be something that was painted on a cliff by the Native Americans. When the Europeans arrived, they saw this thing painted on the cliff. And a friend of mine was saying, well, she knew a demon had to put it there because no human could have painted on the cliff. And I said, well, I don't know. I guess you could have lowered somebody over the side on a rope. And she went, oh.
Wow.
I hadn't thought of that before. I mean, demon, guy on a rope. I mean, But anyway, so we'll stop it there. We're having too much fun. I hope you're having fun watching. But this is Spoilers with Friends. Please hit like and subscribe and hit that bell notifications so you know when I put up more videos, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
Bye.